And
Okay,
we
so
are
I'm like,
live.
no.
And we're having fun already. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Debra Eckerling. I am the author of Your Goal Guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals, and founder of the Deb Method. And every Sunday night, I lead the Twitter chat, the Goal Chat Twitter chat on Twitter, obviously. And then every Monday, I bring in an expert, or in this case, a group of friends, to dive deeper into the topic. And every month, after we have the monthly goals goal chat, the GoalChatLive is all about celebrating, and I like to bring friends from different parts of my life together and see what happens. And usually, as it seems like already, it's a party, which is the entire point. And it is Women's History Month, and I figured what better time to celebrate than have an empowerment party. And the extra fun thing about this month's chat is, like I said, I bring in different people from different parts of my life. My friends today are friends who I have met online in the last year, and in Carmel's case, in the last 2 weeks. So as you get to know these friends of mine, I'm going to get to know them as well. So first of all, I'm going to introduce them a little, and then I'm going to let them introduce themselves a little bit more. So I already mentioned Carmel, so we're going to start with you. We have met because we've been doing networking events together. And the second time I'm like, you have part of my last name. We have to be friends. Tell me more about you. And she is a single parent empowerment coach. So of course, you are here. So you can introduce yourself more in a minute. I just want to pre-introduce everybody else. We also have Boss Girl Raye, who actually I've never spoken to before, but I've known her longer than both of you. She's one of my author friends who I know through Desiree Duffy, if she is watching, hi, and through the Greater Los Angeles Writers Society and all those fun writer groups. So Raye, Boss Girl, thrilled to have you here and to get to know you better.
You.
And then Camille is my Zula friend. So people who know me know that every Tuesday night I jump on Jeff Pulver's Zula, where he brings together people from all over the world. And so I also like to take my Goal Chat parties as a chance to get to know one of my Zula friends better. So Camille, thrilled that you can join us. And I love how you and Raye, who don't even know each other, kind of matched, and you both match with Carmel's background. So,
We secretly channeled this. You don't know that, but we did that.
You know, I do know that, and that sounds totally like something you would do. And it's really all, so my themes this year, so we started with, we're starting the year in January, start 2021 now. Actually, I started that in December. And so January was New Year, New You. February was February Restart. And so now that we've got the engine going, is the perfect time for empowerment. Am I right? Totally right.
Absolutely.
So, Camille, why don't you start by introducing yourself? Well, better. Other than, oh, and I didn't even say what you did. I just said how I knew you all. So, and Camille is a podcaster and an actor and just vibrant. So, Camille, go.
Well, hi. Of course, right when that happens, all of a sudden my phone decides to start making noises that I have no idea why. But anyway, so my name is Camille Cower. I'm an actor and podcaster, like you mentioned earlier. And funny that you mentioned that March being empowerment, because usually this time of the year, I would go with a girlfriend every spring. This was our thing. We would go to women's empowerment every month here locally. And it was like, we'd go for the shopping and the pageantry of it all. I've seen all the women just glammed up in their Sunday's best on a Saturday, but, you know, a little bit more funky than you would see at church, so to speak. And you would have communion and just beautiful people everywhere helping each other and encouraging each other. And the idea of, like, with going to those different Zulas, it was a lot of that same type of energy without the dressiness of it at all. Because the joys of being at home, you can be cute from the waist up, or you can come in whatever you want. It's funny how many times I've gotten away with wearing my pajamas when I'm just But yeah, I've really enjoyed going to those different events and having the opportunity to still network and meet new people that are purpose-driven and passion-driven and not just money-driven.
Absolutely. So tell us more about what you do.
So I'm an actor. I did a lot of commercial acting. I didn't say answer that at all. Sorry, the phone
That's
distracted
fine.
me. So I thought I was supposed to answer about Zula. My bad. So let's see. I started in the acting field as a kid because my parents both were in the film industry. My mom was a stunt woman. My father is a movie producer, unit production manager, line producer, but he was an AD starting off, well, DGA trainee and worked his way up to being a producer, which he's been doing since the 60s, I guess. I'm not going to age myself, but he's been doing it a long time. So I was working in mainly film and television with my parents, and then my parents divorced. I went to college and wanted to see what it was like to have like a normal people job where you didn't move around every 6 months for a new location. I went to 26 different schools, 6 different colleges. So being at the same place was hard for me. So I thought I'd try that out. And I just kept having reasons that made me change. Like family member would get sick or something, and I would just keep moving around. And I just kept going back to entertainment because it was a job I could do in between things when things popped up or different illnesses within family and I needed to be there for them. I could and still be able to maintain my lifestyle that I've gotten accustomed to with working more normal jobs. I was a spa director and an esthetician and a makeup artist on film, and well as weddings and stuff.
Well, so the way the world is right now, with kind of rolling with the punches, that's like your happy place. That's like home for you.
I thrive in chaos and constant not knowing where the next step's going to be because I'm used to not knowing where I'm going to live or where we're going to move to, or I kind of joke about the fact that I've been here so long that it's just driving me batty. Like I'm getting almost like island fever in a way where I'm like, okay, I've lived here too long. It's time to move. Why are we still here? My neighbors, I still don't know a lot of their names, but that's my fault because I kept thinking,
you were going to move.
Yeah, like 3 years was my tops. Like that's the longest I lived anywhere. So, but we've been here for over 5 years now in this house.
So you're like almost double your normal.
Yeah. I still plot my escape on a regular basis, but yeah, we're probably not going to move.
That's what dreams are for. Well, I'm
that's what vacations are for too, right?
Exactly. Vacation. I've heard that word.
They existed back in 2019. They kind of only exist now in influencer land, but I'm pretty sure they'll make a comeback soon.
Yes, waiting for the comeback. So Carmel, come introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I am a single parent empowerment coach, and I'm a single parent myself and have been for the last 8 years. And yes, I've had relationships in there, but obviously nothing has stuck. Well, the reason that I started my business, the reason that I started life coaching is because I just realized that it was so hard, and it took me a long time to get to a place where I felt like I was on an even keel and I had control of my life and I knew what I was doing and I felt empowered myself to like thrive in my life. And I thought, you know what? If I help people with this, they could go through that way faster. And I'm all about expediency, right? Like all about efficiency. Like my last name is Ecker. It's very German, and we love our efficiency.
I always tell people that I created the Deb method using the Deb method, which is not. It's the principles that I've been using for years and years. Coaching people individually, but when I rebranded myself as Deb, I use Deb in bringing that out into the world. So a lot of the times when you create things that serve yourself, it helps other people. And I love that you niched yourself in doing something that helps you, but also helps other people. That's really invaluable.
Yeah.
Okay. So hold on to your hats, or wait, I have to take this out because it's no longer Camille.
Oh, but I was enjoying Camille.
Oh my goodness. Well, please allow me to unswitch. This is when I am technical support and a host, and technical support because we're women and we do a lot of things. So how was that for covering? Good?
That was a good answer. Good answer.
So you were telling me before, people call you a variety of things.
Yeah.
And most of them are good. Boss
Okay.
girl, Raye. And I love that you have like 17 different things that you do.
Well, actually, yes and no. So the short part of the story is I have lived and am living a joy-filled life. So what does that translate to? And I was telling you before we got on that I caught up with a old friend from law school. Been far too long. We both shamed each other and we agreed we won't do it again. But at the genesis of catching up with Natalie, I told her that I am in the middle of the greatest upset, urgency, and reset of my life. And by that, I meant I am enjoying everything, left brain, right brain, and some of that part that we never talk about. And so what I do is I've looked at the totality of my life experience, both growing up in the poorest parts of Los Angeles, where being a larger member of the family, I always feared that they would eat me first if we ran out of food. And so I had to always sort of be a little bit different, to figuring out that education was my way out of a otherwise predetermined destiny to nowhere. And once I found my groove, I found that education and enjoying who I am and loving who I am as I am. And so I've spent my life doing those things that feeds that, but also lets me help people. So for example, in my first career opportunity, I'm a hard charging MBA from USC doing marketing, communication, strategy, upsetting organizations, setting up organizations, helping organizations and individuals drive. I have a competitive addiction and it fed it well. Then one day on the plane, I decided, that's good, but what's next? I was not even 28, 29 years old. So I said, oh, well, nothing like leaving a fast track career in corporate America with some of the biggest companies. And I was like, oh, I'll go to law school. So of course,
Why not?
Why
not?
Well, what the heck? How can you go wrong going to law school? And so in the midst of a 5-hour plane ride, I decided that I must go to Harvard Law School. There was no place else that I felt would work for giving up where I was going to where I wanted to go. Long of the story is I applied to the top 7 because people said I should have a safety school. I was like, okay, Stanford's a good safety school. Yeah. But Harvard was my first choice for a host of reasons. Got in, enjoyed it enormously, and then ran my own law firm. And again, I'm merging all of my life experiences so that today, my number one passion is helping people tell their stories. And I do that by helping people produce, protect, and tell their stories to the masses. But it's not just the creative stories. I help people solve urgent issues on their day-to-day life. I coach people on how to be pro se litigants when they don't have access to justice. I help authors. I help business people not just do branding, but really set themselves up to be a pivotal point in the communication channels. So all of the things I do are the things I love because they give me energy and it therefore fuels me to put more energy out. So I'm having the time of my life. And this time next week, I will find something else to add to that fuel.
I love it. Okay, we're going on, we did the intro, so now we're going to go on in Foursquare because this is a way better way to have a conversation. I'm just color swapping, so all the pinks are, it's just I cannot draw to save my life, but I like the color balance with the pinks and the pinks, and you should have told me to wear pink. So ladies, next time we need the signals a little bit stronger. So
it's Women's Month. It's the first day of March, spring. We're coming out of winter. We're ready for pink and blossoming and glowing women energy. And I wear pink almost every day. That's my thing.
Well,
So
this is true. Okay, lesson learned. And for me, blue is my power color, and so I've got it right here. But I also have, I always say blue is my power color, and orange is my favorite color. So blue is the practical one, and orange is like excitement, fire, whatever. And one of the funny things that when my book cover came out, my childhood bedroom was orange and yellow. So it was like, you want to talk about psychic color friends network? It's ridiculous. Anyway, this is going to lead me to my next question, which has absolutely nothing to do with what I just said and everything to do with what I just said. But what is one thing that very few people know about you that is very telling about who you are? It could be a story, it could be a habit, it could be a fun thing. And Boss Girl Raye, you're smiling, so you know what it is.
I think the smile is a permanent part of my life because I am just so excited. But okay, for true confessions, so the people that know me know that there exists this spectrum. And when I litigate, when I advocate, when I go full on, I can be kind of scary, nice but scary, because I am a real fierce advocate. And I don't mind that. I'm not mean, I'm not callous, but I am literally relentless.
You're a force.
Yeah. And I
Must
was
be a
like,
pink
okay,
thing.
I'll accept that. But what people that don't always know is like, I am the world's foremost chicken. I am anti-violent. If you hit me, I would burp up feathers. That's how chicken I am. My motto is run today so I can run tomorrow. And so that nonviolence shocks people because they think of this power woman taking on the world. And I'm like, oh, no, not me. I won't walk away from an opportunity to resolve something, but it would be highly unusual for me to be the instigator. I just won't do it.
Oh, that's awesome. I just have the visualization with the feathers that is never going to leave my brain. Well, I practiced Aikido for 9 years. Are you familiar with Aikido?
Yeah, when you use, is it the power of energy to push back?
Well, you let the person who's attacking you's force get the better of them. So it's really the art of stepping out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
So,
to put a pin on that, I won't give away all my strategies, but
please,
I
give them
envision
away.
when I'm dealing with people, like I coach people out of some of the most serious conditions. In fact, one of the things I do as part of my give back through COVID is I do a lot of pro bono-ish legal stuff, and I wind up helping people. I talk them out of suicide situations and other life despair, which is kind of really heavy. But one of the things yeah, because I'm like just a lawyer, right? But not really. But I found ways to help people lighten their load, surprisingly. And so I always tell people, envision a giant tug of war. And you're pulling against this. You're pulling to get your house. You're pulling against the marriage. I said, what would happen if you let go of the rope? The other side would fall down and you would de facto remain standing. So sometimes letting go of that which you want the most is probably the most powerful thing I've ever shared with anyone.
Wow. And we're talking empowerment, and that's just a wonderful way to have power. When you give up power, you have power.
Yeah, it works all the time because it's unexpected.
Yeah.
Wow. So Carmel's nodding.
That's just a beautiful image, that idea of letting go. And there is so much power in letting go of the things that you're hanging on to, that, you're fighting for it. And you even maybe get to a point where you don't even know why you're fighting anymore. Like, why are you holding on to this thing? Right. And so being able to just let go and trust, wow.
Yeah, it's one of the ways in which I found as a Black woman, as a woman, and any combination of those two is the expectations are ridiculously low. I'm a Harvard Law School graduate, but even then, people discount my ability to be a formidable opponent. And I'm like, great. The lower your expectations, the more headway I get before you figure out that you should have taken me more seriously.
That gives me the chills.
And then it's like,
but you can be empowered or disempowered by someone else's expectations of you, right?
well, you know, if you and I'm not here to dominate, but I feel that you don't define me. I define me. There are no labels you can put on me unless I allow it. And I have a big spam filter. Being a chicken, you've got to protect your boundaries.
That part, very important. I'm a big fan of boundaries.
Wow. Oh, well, and I apologize, but Camille, you have to follow that.
Well, I recently was just thinking about in my own life, a lot of times I would always be the one that was, because I'm pretty much a stay-at-home mom. When you work in the entertainment industry, you may work 1 week a month, or you may work every other week, or you're doing a lot of auditions and so on. So it's very flexible. So people are always like, oh, Camille, can you help with this? Can you help? And usually I'm like, yeah. And then after a while, I was like, wait, when are these people ever helping me back? Why am I always doing this? Why am I always just so easy to give up my time that's taken away from my own family, for my own wants and dreams for myself? Or even worse, when I was like trying to track down people for payment or different things, it's like, I don't need to work this hard. You knew you weren't paying me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have to chase you. So like, I'm done. Like, I'm not going to keep getting involved with red flags or people that don't respect my boundaries, because it's just a matter of time before they keep pushing it and keep pushing it. And I think a lot of times with working with as a woman and working with men, even, they will test those boundaries. They will say things in front of you to see if they can get away with it, and they'll just keep pushing it. At first I thought, oh, it's kind of cool to be one of the guys and that they feel comfortable to joke around me like that. And then after a while, you're like, okay, you don't get to touch me, or you don't get, like, no, you don't get to make those kinds of jokes about my mother and you wanting to date her. Like, no, like, there's boundaries, there's limits, there's levels. So I don't need to ever know that you think of my mom in the same category as Kim Kardashian, ever. They have the same body shape.
Creepy,
allegedly.
creepy.
Right? Like, men are really gross sometimes. You're like, I don't need to hear that about my mom. Would you want somebody to talk about your mom like that? Granted, my mom is a model. She is an actress. She is a stunt woman, and she does have a black belt in Shotokan. So speaking of that Aikido stuff, it's not worth the time. You won't win. She's good. So yeah.
Well,
boundaries are good.
The boundary question in when I lead, I just have this from this workshop I did a couple years ago for IWASC, when I asked people, what are the biggest challenge you face? And I think a third of them says, my fam said, yeah, I can talk. I a writer, I could talk, I could speak full sentences. And my family thinks that I have all the time in the world because I'm a writer. And they can always ask me to do something. And my response, because I use this example a lot, is you say, I'm writing this day, and this day. If you need me, you have Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. The rest of the time, because I said, anybody else experienced this? And a third of the room raised their hands. And I'm like, your new motto is me first. And I think a lot of people forget that and I hate this analogy because everybody uses it, but you have to put the oxygen on you first, and then you can fuel everything else in your life. But boy, oh boy, did we digress. Carmel, what do people not know about you that is really indicative of who you are?
That's a tough one, because I'm really an open book. I don't really hide anything from people. I'm very transparent. And so I'm like racking my brain, trying to think, what don't people know about me? But I think probably a misconception that people might have about me is that I'm like, just super brave and courageous. And, I've got this, I can do anything. And I've had to really step into that in my life. I've not always been that way. And I think actually becoming a single parent put me in a position to learn that and to be braver and to step into the things that are scary. And just,
Sure.
I'm going to do it and prove to myself that I can do it.
So it's like the opposite of Raye. Raye's running and you're running away and you're running towards.
Yes.
Run today and you will run tomorrow.
Well, it's really the underestimation question, though, right? That you were just talking about. It's we're women, we're powerhouses, because I was very specific that I want to, and not to. If you're not on the show, I believe you're a powerhouse, and I adore you as well. And we will talk with powerhouses again, but. Really, I felt that it was important for this to kick off Women's History Month, to have these forces. And when people underestimate you, boy, you can really get them, right?
Yeah.
It's a power of surprise, like the Trojan horse aspect of it, where they're presuming one thing and they get surprised with another thing. And I mean,
Well,
I think
one of
as
my-
women, that's common.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes, I because I talk to such a range of people, from everyday Americans to people on boards and corporate leaders, you can figure out I live in analogies and metaphors and things like that, and paint pictures to the best I can. And one of my favorite quotes is always about war and competition, but it's not all of them. But one of my favorite is Napoleon Bonaparte, and in some it's never interrupt your enemy in the middle of making a mistake. And so when people are underestimating you, one of the things I think that we do as women, but men do it too, is we're going to correct that. And I'm going to show you my pedigree and I'm going to show you my credentials, and like, oh no, you can't do that. I always say, let it ride. Let them think that you don't know what you know. Because the second quote I love from Napoleon is, the longer you engage your opponent, they learn the art of your war. So you don't want to put it all out there about what you have in your tank. And secrecy and holding back is really powerful, because they don't know the art of your war. And I use that term in the kindest and most competitive way. So hold back a little. Don't put it all out there. Let them learn the hard way about your power. And then they'll regret it, and then it'll all shift.
Oh, it'll be fun. Watch people like trip over themselves, is what you're saying. Because they're going to be, they can, if someone is making a mess, let them continue to make their mess.
Well,
I have a great example of this.
Yeah, and you let people reconfigure for themselves how they see you.
Okay, and Camille has a great example.
Yeah.
So go.
Yeah, well, I was just, when you were saying that, I was just thinking of a situation where I was working at a spa, and I was the spa director, and they had hired their son-in-law, who was seemingly a retired Marine, I think he was, that was working at a spa. He had never worked in any service capacity whatsoever, which, being a military brat, I had full faith in him, because they can do anything out of anything. But needless to say, he was out of his element. He made a lot of mistakes. And at first I kept trying to train him. But then I was like, they need to know that he's not capable, because otherwise we're going to keep making these $1,000 mistakes and I have to keep cleaning him up. And it was getting to a point, I'm like, okay, you guys have to demote him, retrain him, something, without me having to tell them. Because I just felt like it was up to them to see it, instead of me just handing it to them and then being the messenger that might get shot, because this is their son-in-law at the same time. So it was a very delicate area to work in. But at the same token, it was like Raye had mentioned, where you just have to kind of let go of the rope and let them, like you said, tug by yourself. Go for it. I'm not gonna keep you up.
So how long did you have to deal with it before the truth came out?
I don't even remember, honestly, but it was he was a constant pain for all of us at the front desk, where if it was like a group thing or a matter of inventory, like we just couldn't find where to put him where he wouldn't make mistakes that were costly. So it was, it was difficult because he was seemingly such a sweetheart. He really was trying his best. No hurt to him, but he's just like, he's a fixer guy. He wasn't really good with the soft needed.
So it wasn't good for him either.
No, like he needed to find his own place and not just his in-laws.
Well, doesn't things where people, and I don't know who said this quote, it's like people tell you who they are, people show you who they are. Listen.
Maya Angelou.
Dr.
Maya Angelou.
Of course. Who said this? Of course it's Maya Angelou. But it's one of those things that, because I think as women, we like to fix things. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's really hard to step back and let people trip, because it's easier sometimes to fix, but to let people show you who they are. And sometimes you have to walk away from situations
for them to even to acknowledge you more, to realize your what you bring to the organization as well. So.
Right. Exactly. Now, Camille, did we get your story about what people don't know about you?
Yeah, I was thinking like Carmel, pretty much everything people know, but I guess people are always shocked to find out that I was abused as a child. So I guess that would be the one thing, is having to overcome all of that and different other assaults I've had since then, unfortunately, that I overcame it. And that doesn't, because a lot of friends that have gone through some of the same things I have, whenever they get triggered or something, they always call on me to get back into their strength so that their attacker doesn't still control their life. And so it's really important for me with social media, for like different influencers who are finally feeling comfortable enough to put themselves out there and be public and so on. And because even myself, like I was too scared because I didn't want for that kind of energy again, especially for men. So just, I guess that would be the surprise that people would find out about me.
Wow. And so important when people, because not everybody can tell their story. Not everybody can out
it's
themselves.
1 out of 3 women. So it's like the odds are it's me.
Odds are.
But maybe not just me.
Right. But the people who have gone through trauma and are able to speak about it, I commend you, because you're there for other people who can reach out, and for those who can't, it is especially important to have those who can. So, yay, you. I mean, I try. We know
you're a writer. We got it. You'll find your words.
Well, thank you for sharing.
I just shocked you. I'm sorry.
90% of the time, you know me, I'm like, hello, I'm the designated optimist. But so I will find the optimism, which is, I am very sorry for what you went through, but I am very proud to have you as a friend, because I know that it's important for others to see, like, people to have their strength when they don't have their own.
Right.
They need to know that they can borrow from other people. So I think that's amazing.
And at the same time, they give back to me sometimes, because you can't be strong all the time. I think that's one of the things people assume, that when you're, because I do a lot of laughing, I do a lot of things, and it's like a nervous thing for me sometimes. Like the automatic thing to me to go to is to start laughing or to make a joke of things when I'm uncomfortable, because it's just my nature. It's in my family. Like, we're just jokesters and pranksters. And so people just automatically assume that I can't have any sadness or weakness in my life as well. But, not every day am I 24/7 happy and go lucky. Sometimes I'm laying in the bed like, oh, why me? Or, but there's times when I realize maybe it's me, because I was strong enough to handle it and be able to help other people who aren't strong enough to handle it, be able to find that strength within themselves so they can. Because we shouldn't have to live in the shadows of the fears of things that may never happen again because it happened to us before.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. And I think
sorry.
Please.
I was going to go to you because, Carmel, you've just been nodding and making, you win the award for the best verbal expressions while listening to everybody today. So please share.
Very expressive. But I was just going to say off the back of what you were saying, Camille, I almost said my own name.
Hilarious, by the way. I do that too, but I was like, maybe it's just me. So I'm glad you do that.
You know, it's about not allowing the things that happen in your life in your past to define you going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's not allowing that, like you said, allowing that person to have power over you. You reclaim that and you say, yeah, that's just something that happened, but it doesn't mean anything about me.
That says more about who they are than me. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. So. That thing didn't happen to me because I'm weak or I, you know, whatever, depending on what the situation is, what happened. But it doesn't mean anything about you. It means something about the person that committed the act, right? But it doesn't, you don't have to wear that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it also gave me a good understanding of how to handle when somebody comes to me about trauma. I knew how not to react, because I remember how when I first told my parents about my abuse, how they reacted and so on, which again, no fault to their own. It was what they had to work with, being military personnel, being an officer, not wanting to put themselves in a position where people would know that their child had been abused right underneath their home, so to speak, in that sense. So it was a matter of just pretend it never happened. And that didn't work for me. I wasn't able to pretend it never happened. The woman gave me a concussion a few times, you know, like she knocked me out and she scared me and like tormented us all, really. So it's just like thinking through all of that, and just with my own child being just very much knowing that anytime she goes through something, let's have a conversation, let's really talk it out. Or even if I fall short of something, for her to be able to know she can talk to me about it and just be aware of the fact that we do make mistakes. We're like, my parents, I had them on this perfect pedestal and realizing they were like 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds. Like now that I'm 45, I'm like, wow, my mom was already divorced and like doing all this at 45. Like I can't even go to like parent teacher conferences without getting a pep talk. Like, where's the adults? I need somebody else to do this with me. I don't want to go in and they might ask me to read something because I'm dyslexic, right? So I'm like, they might judge my intelligence based on my reading or writing, you know, like all those old school, middle school fears go in when I go into a school again. So it's like, yeah, you know, I have a lot more respect for our parents and grandparents and just realizing they were doing the best they knew how with what they had as well.
Okay, so it's not just me. I think like I'm a kid or a teenager most of the time. That's not just me.
No,
me too.
I'm a Toys R Us kid for life.
I
20-year-old in a 40-year-old's body. I'm like,
not be aged. Yes.
I mean, that's why I buy all this pink stuff. I finally can. I'm like, whoa, everything pink. Like yeah.
Well, it's funny when you think about how people try and define you. And my example is I had a girlfriend who currently, I am so off her list for something she said I've done, but I don't know what I've done, sort of thing. But we were shopping way back when that actually, you got to go back a while when that was an actual event. And I live out loud in colors. Life to me is a big, bold canvas of color and opportunity. And so you know, if there's a color, it attracts me and I attract to it. But she's very conservative. I think her color range is black, brown, and blue. And for spice, she'll put in black and brown. And so we were shopping and I'm getting this and she's getting that. And she's thoroughly annoyed with me and she turns to me, "You need to look more lawyerly." And I was like, actually, I never want to look lawyerly. I never wore a suit to court, well, except the federal court, because you sort of had to. But I gave up the pantyhose and I was like, well, you know, if I don't have any hair on my leg, they won't know. But that whole idea, you asked me what I'm doing now. One of the things as I'm launching my podcast is I really try and help people who don't want to be confined by the boundaries of sameness thinking. And so I get excited by people who carve out their own space based on their own experience. In my last example, if you will, I love Amanda Gorman. the skinny Black girl who had a speech impediment, who turned that into a talent. And when the moment came, she stepped into it. No hesitation. I mean, and she was ready for it because she had built herself for that moment. And that's what I like to do, is I like to help people be ready to step into that moment and not try and catch up. And I think she is like one of my heroes among many. But the idea that the day you had prepared for it in your mind is here. Like, I am going to make a big movie. I'm just pronouncing it.
Oh, good. I love it.
I'm laying it out there, and I'm preparing myself. So when
Camille's
that
ready to-
moment comes,
I can play you if you want me to. I already have the
to
wardrobe.
contact.
Okay, so
We should
Camille's
talk.
offering to play you.
Okay, well,
I just
okay,
said I already
that's
got the
good,
wardrobe.
because my first choice, no disrespect to you, but I didn't know you till tonight, was Queen Latifah, because I love Queen Latifah.
I would.
She's occupied now as the equalizer. Yeah. So I'm like, well, darn, Queen, why you call me?
And Queen Latifah is Leo. We love our Leos, like me. So I believe her birthday's around mine as well. So, are you a Leo too?
Yes. When's your birthday?
August 6th.
16th.
Oh.
My mom's a Leo. That's
Leos
funny.
are the best. We're
so
fire.
we have 2 Leos.
What are you? I'm a Capricorn.
Okay, can't you guess? I'm Aries, the fire.
Yes.
So one of my best friends is an Aries, and she's a JD MBA as well. There must be something about you guys that just love going to school.
I am, you asked about my other, well, that's not a secret. I am a card-carrying nerd.
So
Love it.
I can nerd out in nirvana.
I only surround myself with people smarter than me. It's my thing. I'm sorry? Like more intelligent. I only surround myself with people who I find smarter than me. So that's the thing. And I don't consider myself dumb, for the record.
Yeah. Well, so just, study my mannerisms. So when you do me in my movie, we've got it done.
Oh, easy breezy. I already got you pegged.
I love that GoalChat brought this thing together.
Wait. Is it a comedy or is it like super drama? I should ask all of those first.
I haven't the details.
We'll figure it out. If nothing else, I just play the podcast version of you, because I really love podcasting and love to help you with that.
Goody! I'm literally launching.
Exciting! So what is it going to be? Sorry. This is your show, Deb.
No, please. This is why I do this. I'm just sitting here happy. Please continue.
Well, I'm curious, what's your subject going to be about?
Yeah, well, I'm having this COVID moment because, on lockdown, I'm pretty self-sufficient. I work out, I do this and I do that.
And you can make your own music.
I'm the poster child for Don't Touch Me. I have pre-existing immune compromise. I have a certain age. I'm Black, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm like, in fact, I need all of you to put a mask on while you talk to me through StreamYard.
I have not gone anywhere besides Costco and the grocery store, and I went to the mall for the first time yesterday, and I don't need to do that again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my podcast is called The Mythology Show. And the premise is your mouth is talking, but are you being heard? And I really help people. It's a whole new take on mouth care, because you think about it, your mouth can get you in and out of trouble. It is our agency and our authority. And it's how to take people on this journey of producing, protecting, and telling their story to the masses. And it's not just the creatives. It's anyone and everyone, from you as a parent who has to convince Junior to cooperate, which they will not do. And it's about influence, and it's about feeding that competitive addiction, because I know you guys are going to be shocked. I'm competitive.
Okay, we're prepared.
I'm competitive. So, Deb, thank you for that moment of promo. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, but this is the entire point. And I did this in December because, like I said, December 1st, I started 2021 because everybody couldn't get rid of 2020 soon enough. And it was so much fun. I'm like, okay, this is a new thing. And I love making connections. That's the thing. And we were talking before about our Zulas. It's a bunch of smart, passionate people coming together. And people are like, well, not people, me. When I'm talking about what goals did you achieve, what are your wins? And it started the end of January because I was invited to speak at Connect Ottawa. And from that, I was introduced to like a half a dozen other different networking because I love people. And so my biggest win in February was like these new people who entered my life. And it's almost like the boomerang effect because I pride myself on, connecting dots and bringing people together. And the fact that you're like, I'm making a movie, me. Camille's like, I'm you. And you're like, yes, you are. And this is just my happy place.
Well,
so
this is working wonderful. Because we already have the pink thing going.
Yeah.
We have the pink feng shui. That really set it up.
Because I was kind of joking because I really love, so when you guys were talking earlier about trying really hard to get certain things, and I was like, it's funny. In my head, I was thinking, I always thought I'd want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. I want to be a performer. I want to be on stage. And I realized, no, I don't. I want to be like a variety show host. I want to be like a host. I want to be the one that engages with the performers and the singers and the actors and talking about what they're doing and entertain. That's the part. So when I was saying that, it was just, like the actor in me still coming out like, oh yeah, an opportunity to be on camera. I'll take it. But at the real life, it's like, oh wait, you just had your epiphany, crazy. You got to stay where your epiphany is now, that being in front of camera where you're helping others find that glam and that light. And because my days of playing Julia Roberts and Notting Hill type stuff is over. And that was the kind of dream roles, the Sandra Bullock 90 rom-com things I wanted to do. And so now it's like, I get to live my VJ life. I'm doing that or variety show share.
So you don't want to play Raye in the movie?
Oh man.
Okay, I guess
I will find you the perfect actor for you.
I go from high to low in one show.
I want to be authentic and truthful and give that opportunity to somebody that will be the perfect Raye. And I will be on the red carpet interviewing all of you and showcasing how amazing it is that I was able to give another Black woman an opportunity that was first given to me and open the door to somebody new.
Rejection so early on this journey.
I can't win. She's the actor. You should play yourself.
Yeah, you should play yourself, Raye. Are you kidding me? And poor Carmel really wants to
plus
say
you told
something.
me I was your second pick to Queen Latifah. I mean, come on.
Well,
that's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, yeah.
Two can play this game. I'm not getting paid, not tearing up my waterproof mascara or non-waterproof mascara.
And now confrontation is coming. I've got to go.
No confrontation. It's all love, I promise.
Wait, now, what I love, especially about what you just said, Camille, that you have, this is the life you want to be the one behind the camera. This is, and I was interviewed on this before, so I'm going to get on my little goal coach hat, is I'm always about, the D and the Deb method is determine your mission. So figure out what you want, who you are, who you want to be, what your mission is, the drive behind it. And once you have that, if you have your motto, that is your compass. And when this is, and my motto, goal setting simplified, my goal to be the top goal setting expert, play with it. Or as I say, I am the top female goal setting expert and I want to break the glass ceilings because most of the top are men. So I know goal queen, that is me. And that's the lens with which I look at everything. I love that you just flash back to, this is what I want. And I might not be able to be you because it's out of my motto, but I can make that happen for you. And that is, we're talking about empowerment. That's just plain power. To know so much of what you love and the ability to help others do what they love, which I think we all have in common. And poor Carmel keeps trying to talk, so please say something.
Oh no, I'm so entertained by the whole exchange. And it was just so exciting. And like, I got to a point where it's like, I'm gonna have to do a face massage after this because my
Do you have a story of my life? Like, how do you stay so young? I laugh all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
You know
time.
what's
Like,
really
that's the
cool
goal.
about this flash assembly is the power of laughter. And each of us have found our own way to tell our story through the power of laughter, but not self-effacing laughter. There are some hard stories. And again, I thank you so much, Camille, for sharing, and Carmel. But there's a certain release of when you can laugh at something that at once tormented you, that had caused you sleepless nights. And now it's like, that was a part of a journey. And I'm going to quote my young poet, that was a hill you had to climb. And guess what? You're not only over that hill, you can look back, see the benefit of it, and laugh at the fact that it had caused you so much trauma and toxins at the time. Doesn't mean it wasn't real, but it has a place that it doesn't haunt you anymore.
No, you saying that, Amanda Gorman and so on, I watched her interview that she gave about her speech impediment, and I had forgotten all about this. I moved to America when I was 12, and I was put in ESL, and I had a speech impediment. I couldn't say sausage was one word I couldn't say, but that sound, the asaj, I would say rosh rosh or something. And I still can't roll my R's. I have a tongue tie. I had to get voice lessons to finally get rid of my accent, but they told me all the time, you'll never be an actor. You'll never be able to do any of the things that I do. I even had an English teacher that told me she would never pass me. So like I graduated with honors on the dean's list. So let's just say that nobody can define who you are besides yourself, because nobody would have ever guessed that we could have our own talk show on our computer. So what do they know?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They told me I couldn't have a baby. Guess who has a kid?
Well, when I had an emergency operation just about 4 years ago, before that, my immune, I could be in complete remission for years. I was running, I was doing everything that brought me joy. I had an emergency operation, triggered the RA, came back, and the doctor told me that I would never walk or run again. Last year, COVID included, and the year before, I have now finished at least 10 5K half marathons.
Where's my gold star?
And I work out every day with my trainer. And so that competition addiction is like, oh, you're telling me I can't? And that was my comeback. And it's taken me years to come back from that setback. And looking back at it now, I'm like, it was really horrendous, but I never would have thought that I would even use the word 5K half marathon. Those were foul words. Even though I trained, I never trained in that condition. So you never know what comes your way.
Yeah, I think when someone tells you you can't do something, when someone tries to put a limit on you, you have two choices. You can internalize it, or you can prove them wrong. And I think that's so beautiful that you did what you needed to do to prove that doctor wrong.
Well, it just wasn't a place that I was ready to stay.
No.
And in honor to the work you do in goal setting, my goal was, at first it was amorphous. It was anywhere but here. I'm not going to stay at that place that they said I would be. But as I got better and more proficient in visualizing the place I wanted to be next, then I got haughty and I was like, oh, well, shoot, if I can do 3 5Ks, I can do 4. If I can do 5Ks, then I could do a half marathon. Thank God for COVID and we switched to virtual. So now I can do virtual half marathons. And I break them up, which is fine, but
Amazing.
I still finish them.
Ah, that's great. I didn't know they were doing that. That's amazing.
Oh, it's so addictive and they have great swag. I'm just saying.
Because see, I'm a germphobe. The idea of running around a bunch of sweaty people, like, no, thank you. But virtually,
You've got to do it.
Because there's that app, Couch to Marathon. I remember I was going to try to do that, or Couch to 5K or something, because I was going to try to get into running again. And yeah, good to know, because I have a treadmill that stares at me and I have no reason to get on it.
You can run anywhere, in the stairs, in the parking lot.
Okay,
It
so
just,
your
it's a great
treadmill
place to
stares
be
at
free.
you.
Yes,
And you
it
swear back.
judges me. It judges me. It just judges me and says, hey, girl, you going to ride me today? Nah, heifer, you scared me once. So what happened was, I was thinking, oh, I'll have a treadmill. Instead of my elliptical, I can get work done while I'm on there, because I just was so sick of just sitting for so long. I'm not a city person. Like, I'm a mover. I can't sit for a long time. So, yeah, that didn't work out so well, because the first day I'm on it, I'm like, okay, I'm a text. Next thing you know, I didn't realize, because I had my headphones in, I had pushed the numbers all the way up to 11. Do you know how fast 11 is? I saw my life flash before my eyes as I was trying to, because I couldn't think to pull the string that stops it. So I'm like going as fast as I can. I mean, to use your analogy of the birds flying out, just imagine steam coming out of my feet and me just seeing in the back of my head any minute I was going to just be a splatter on the back of my wall that would go with my abstract artwork that was behind me at the time. And being that it was an original painting that was in the movie New Jack City, that scared me enough to never do it again. So yeah, I only get on it when other people are around that can possibly save my life, because I find ways to kill myself very easily. Very
I'm just
accident-prone.
traumatized by
Oh,
that.
it was very scary the first time I'm on it. Like, how did I even do this? I didn't hear any beeps or anything. And so, yeah, I need adult supervision. I think I mentioned that earlier. My 12-year-old is in a lot of trouble. Just kidding. I don't want anybody calling CPS. I'm a very capable adult. It's just accidents happen. Forgot I was talking to a lawyer and a single parent empowerment coach. We might call it reinforcement.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Wrong audience.
But yeah, my goal is to be able to use my treadmill on a regular basis without the fear of killing myself process.
Okay.
Hope this is supposed to add wealth.
So Camille's goal: use the treadmill. Do you have another one you wanna put in there?
Just staying within my lane, because that's been the problem. That's why I said I can't play you, Raye, because every opportunity that comes my way, every flashy, I'm going to go ahead and use my balls analogy because I use it all the time. As a woman, you're always juggling these different balls. Sometimes they're rubber, sometimes they're glass. And I just would always just keep taking these balls on and kept throwing them out. And then all my glass balls were like, wait, what about us? So now I'm getting rid of the rubber balls and keeping those glass balls in my hands only, and just taking care of the people that matter, the things that matter, because I was letting things that were very important shatter. So.
Okay, your goal: use the treadmill without injury. Stay in my lane.
Stay in my lane.
Carmel, what are your goals?
Oh, I have so many. My goals are really focused on business this year and bringing the message that I have to more people, as many as I possibly can. And my goals are really aligned with my mission. Like, my mission in life is that when I come into contact with people, whether it is, through social media, they're watching my videos or whatever, is that their life is a little bit better for having come into contact with me. That's like my overriding life mission. And so the goal is to expand my reach this year and do that through some group coaching. So in April, my goal is to launch a group coaching program that's something that goes beyond my one-to-one coaching practice. So it's going to involve a lot of work, but I can do it. I can do it.
You can do it. And I truly believe this, and I wrote it down so now you know you're being held to account. But you can do it. We're all we're celebrating a year of lockup. Woohoo! But look at all the extra time you have not driving places. I've at least tripled all my networking because don't have to drive, don't have to park, and I get to meet people from all over the world. So it's bonus, bonus, bonus. So yes, you can do it, and you announced it, and we're gonna hold you to it, or at least I'm gonna check up on you and say, hey, so how's that going? Raye, we know you're gonna make a movie. What other goals do you want to?
Well, my immediate near-term goal, of course, is a successful and highly flamboyant launch of the Mythology show. Number 2 is, and I welcome all of you back to be guests on my version of the show.
Yes,
Number
please.
2, I want to be fully engaged in how I can be part of the COVID recovery. I started and still run a foundation for young Black women and girls in leadership empowerment. And we all know the statistics about how COVID has hit different communities. And I want to be a part of that rise up. I have some plans that I want to translate into more concrete training programs. My third is to start production on a docu-series in and around the restoration of dignity, about families that have been and will lose their homes from the COVID foreclosure crises. And then on the fun side is get that novel out the door, the novel I've been talking about that will lead to the movie. So that's my credenza of good things to do.
I think that's like, here's your, well, it's a laundry list, but it's in the chat. And it's wonderful because this is like the constant with the three of you. It's, you know what you love, you want to do more of it. Boom. And actually, that should be the bonus goal for listeners or watchers or whatever. Claim what you love and do more of it.
Mm-hmm. And monetize it.
Yes.
You're in business.
There is that.
I'm so sick of people thinking because you love something, you should, like, you just work for the love of it. No, I work because I get paid for it, just like doctors do and lawyers do and everybody else. I
get paid very well, thank you.
And that part, I'm in the Screen Actors Guild. You better pay me scale. At least. Just kidding. Okay. I love that also what you said about doing that for the little girls. I have a 12-year-old and she's starting a youth leadership thing this next week, and she got asked to be a part of it. So anything I could do to help, please let me know. I would be honored.
It's the newreality.org. Website needs to be a little updated, but we're working at it. But
I with really Grateful Goddesses too.
Yeah, I really do believe that my ability to be joyful and my ability to make money is paramount, is linked to my spiritual contribution. I'm not just here to absorb. And I believe that if I give of good self, the things that are meant for me will come to me. They're not tit for tat, but I'm not a parasite on society. That's the way I view my life mission.
And you mentioned Grateful Goddesses, and Karen was watching earlier. If you're still on, hi Karen. And do you want to talk about Grateful Goddesses for a second?
Can I? I would love to. I would love to give a shout out to that because so Grateful Goddess is another podcast that I co-host on, and it was started by Karen Pulver, who is cousins with Jeff Pulver, which is how Debra and I met. Right? Long story short, but Grateful Goddess is a group of women. It's a passion networking group. We meet every Sunday at 8 o'clock live, 7 o'clock, depending on where you are. You guys are all in LA, so 4 o'clock time. I don't know. Don't make me do math on a Monday night. I can put it in the link. But we meet on Sunday nights live, and then it's a podcast as well. So a lot of the guests that we'll have on were podcast guests. And so you get to actually get to speak to these people a little bit further and find out more after you've already read or heard the podcast or watched it on YouTube. You can kind of delve in deeper, which is really nice. So it's fun and it's very encouraging. And the whole idea is to tap into your inner goddess. So each guest shares a different story or element that kind of shares that fun. See, I realize I talk more about Grateful Goddesses than I do my own show. And I love my show. It's just, I'm so used to talking about it for a year. And I've only been talking about Grateful Goddesses for the last couple of months. But the E-Spot, which is my show, is the entertainment show where I interview entertainment professionals. And the reason I started that's because I wanted to get more work in entertainment. And now I'm like, hey, now I want to make sure I know who will be on my variety show one day.
Excellent.
Dreaming,
Excellent.
right? So here we go.
No, but dreaming is what we're here for.
Yep, dream
right?
bigger.
And we all need to dream bigger. I think that should be the other bonus goal, is to dream bigger, because
That's my mantra.
anything isn't just possible, it's probable, right? I'm putting that in the chat.
Big, bold, bodacious, like what type dreams are just delicious. It's like big chunky babies. You want a big healthy baby, or you want a big healthy dream.
Well, yes, you do want a healthy, the big part.
Hey, I've never had a child, so I can use that metaphor.
Well, I was going to say another fun, well, I had a C-section because the fibroids, but I was going to say another fun quote I like, which I haven't used it as much because of COVID, but I think this is a safe place that I can use it. Rosario Dawson has the saying where you don't want your tombstone to say, played it safe. So go out and live your best life. Live life on full volume, you know, like just see what could happen if you live it, your dreams out. What's the worst that could happen? You could be happy.
You could be happy, which is, it really goes back to all of why I do what I do. And I always say my book came out 2 months before COVID, but the purpose of the book was the same. It is to help people figure out what they love and incorporate it more into their life. And to, when they face change, to be able to embrace it, figure out what you love, figure out your mission, and move forward, because your resources are all around you. They're your people. Everything you need, we've proven in the last year, you can pretty much get from your computer. So why not take a chance on yourself, take a chance on the life that you love, and make small changes or big changes to live the life you want and achieve Goaltopia. So there you go. And I made up that word for my book because I could not find a word that expressed.
So did you trademark that? You need to go trademark that. Okay,
the method is trademark.
How to produce, protect, and to tell your story to the masses. One last point.
I might need to hire you.
Name it, claim it, own it, and explode with it. I'm just saying.
Wait, say that again. Name it, claim it,
and explode
own
with
it. Okay, name it, claim it, explode with it.
But you do need to trademark that. And since this is now live and going public, you might want to rush around to it. Oops.
Well, my agent is also my attorney, so I guess I should have another.
You're protected. You've been using it. But seriously,
Okay.
I tell everybody, if you really want to make a big splash and create this unique moment on your journey, think about all the odd and different ways you can tell and name your story. Safe words are everybody's words, but Goaltopia is your word.
It is my word. You make a very good point. I have a great big extra super secret bonus goal that's not so secret here. I should say, if you want more information about your goal guide, if you go to yourgoalguidebook.com, it will take you to Amazon, but you can also find my book wherever books are sold. Oh, and here, I knew I had the link in here somewhere. There we go. And yes, we also stream to Periscope because we can. And also be sure to check thedebmethod.com/blog. I will have the recap along with the replay of this wonderful, wonderful conversation. And I'm gonna, well, before I close out, I want you all one more time to say where people can find you And one last word of wisdom. Carmel, go.
Oh my God, of course I have to go first.
Of course you do.
You can find me at speaknowcoaching.com. I'm also on Instagram at Carmel Ecker, just my name. And I guess my little nugget of wisdom is, yes, dream, but also know what you need to say no to. And use that word no very powerfully. Claim it. Don't be afraid to use it when you need to. I think as women, we don't say no enough. We want to keep everybody happy. And it just, in the long run, doesn't serve us. Often we drain our resources and then we have nothing left to give, which makes everybody unhappy. So yeah, stand in the power of the word no.
Mm-hmm.
Dream, but know what you need to say no to.
Yeah.
Love it.
So good at these recaps.
Well, there's so much good information. I need to know what to put in the recap, right? So I'm cheating. You now all know my secret. I put in the chat what needs to be pulled out, and then my little scribbles along the way. Okay, Camille, where else can people find you, and what are your words of wisdom so I can type them up quickly?
Sure. So everyone can find me at CamilleCower.com, or you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Real Camille Cower, Kauer. And on Twitter, CKOnAir1. And I'm on Clubhouse too. So follow me on Clubhouse with Camille Cower as well. Yay!
I'm gonna come find you, Camille.
Find me. Let's go into a room together. That sounds so weird. Like, why are all of these like social media things so creepy?
Get a room.
They're so creepy. I want to poke you like at Facebook. That was weird. Remember that? The poke? Like, who poked? I don't know. But they come like really weird things. So anyway, I guess my final recap would be find humor in life wherever you can. Because life is going to break you down and be hard enough. Try to find those moments of sunlight and happiness wherever you can. And keep it in there. Stay in the light. Stay in the sunshine.
Love it. This is because it's true. And how much laughing did we do? Like a bunch.
Oh my God.
It's not laugh lines. You know, they never say laugh lines. They say crow's feet, right? Because you're doing this. So if you laugh,
I think we should.
I'm an esthetician. I'm an expert.
We should start a new movement to transition to laugh lines from crow's feet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It does sound much better.
It sounds a lot.
I don't have crow's feet. I have laugh lines. I be laughing.
Dr. Raye, where can people find you, and what is your final word of everything?
Find me in my happy place. And you can follow me because I'm really on a mission to get my Instagram situation improved. So I'm at Boss Girl Genius. Sounds just the way it's spelled the way it sounds. My website, of course, is still Dr. Raye Mitchell.com, RAYE Mitchell.com. Due for an update, but it'll get there. And my words of wisdom are: plan your escape, your reset, your next move out of this COVID nightmare with a brilliant level up. Use this time to visualize how great you will be on the other side of this, and start it now.
Hell yeah. I love that. And again, exactly the point of my book. If you know what you want, if you give yourself the gift of figuring out what you love and make a plan to turn into reality, the world is yours. It's just giving yourself a gift of that time, sharing your energy, your wisdom, what you're passionate about with the world. And my goodness, could I have found 3 more awesome women to join me today? Well, I love all of you awesome women who are not on camera, but oh my goodness, Raye, Carmel, Camille.
I love the diplomacy.
Like the footnote, note to
I personally don't care about those other women as long as you're good to me. That's just all I'm going to say. Just kidding. I love everyone.
Wait,
Okay,
we're here and you're not. No.
As someone that was on the outside group, like not the popular kid to some extent, I was a theater kid. So it's like, finally, I'm at the cool table.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to be with the pretty people, you know,
right? I can get used to this lifestyle.
I'm impressed with the company that you have invited me into, and I thank you for being such a wonderful host, because I've had like an amazingly great and easy time to be here. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
this has been great. Thanks a lot, ladies.
It is my pleasure. Thank you all for joining us. If you're watching, thank you. And yes, as one of those, if my friends could see me now, remember that song? Yes, I actually had a quiet, awkward phase. And the fact that I get to do this, do what I love, and bring awesome people into the world of other people is just my joy and my pleasure. So thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for watching. Please share in the comments your empowerment tips, what your goals are. Remember, whatever it is you want, you can do it, and we are all rooting for you. Thanks again. I'm Debra Eckerling. Be sure to join us for Goal Chat on Twitter Sunday nights, and I will be back next Monday and every Monday at GoalChatLive at 4 p.m. In the meantime, let's really kick it up a notch. Go for it.
Awesome.